From Venture X Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
Well, happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yes, it's Wednesday, the Wednesday before Veterans Day, and we are very excited to invite you to our second, Baby Yoda fell down, to our second annual JP, Kathy, and the Crew Veterans Day Telethon. Chuck Wright will be in studio with me tomorrow from Kilroy's Conversation. We've got a number of veterans who will be in studio or Zooming in and telling us about their service to our country. So make sure you tune in from 9 to 3 tomorrow here at Venture X in Frisco. Very, very exciting. And then and Jeremiah will be coming in first thing tomorrow morning when we start. And talking about and inviting you to a Veterans Day happy hour where they're going to be celebrating veterans here at Venture X after our show. So good times, lots to celebrate with our veterans. We owe them a debt of gratitude, and we need to react accordingly and take care of them tomorrow. If you've got a chance to donate to an organization, and we've got a homeless veterans organization that our fundraising efforts are going towards this year. There are people in need, really desperately in need. So just reach deep, and if you can give $5 or $500, we'll take it. Dr. Be Good. Ironically, we're talking about digital detox while I've got a tablet in front of me and a phone in front of me, and have been on both of those and a laptop this morning. So talk about digital detox. So does that mean just one device at a time, not 3 at a time?
So, we're still learning. Even though we feel like computers have been around a while, we're still learning about the impact that it's having on us as adults and us as children, right?
Yes.
So adults have, they spend like 8 hours, an average of 8 hours a day. And that sounds a little low, frankly, to me. But within that 8 hours is included 3 hours and 13 minutes of smartphone use, which for me would be, oh, man, I don't use a laptop. I use everything on my, 12, now close to 13 Pro. But that's up from 2 hours and 45 minutes from the year before. So we are increasing our time on our computers. And there are some very negative effects that happen when you spend too much time. And the more that they study this, the more we have the understanding that our sleep patterns are being disrupted. We have retinal damage that's being done by the blue light that's emitted from our smartphones and our laptops. We have less time spent in REM and slow wave sleep. And so these are serious implications. Kids, the same. Kids are spending, it says 4 to 6 hours. I think we could all say that that might be more in some cases, especially now that schools are tending to use the devices more. And I think that's something we really have to look at. I know that when I've been visiting schools, we are depending way too much on device learning since the pandemic, even now that they're back in school. So that's something I bet that we're going to see being talked about more, and how we can get back to more natural teaching. But there's even an article about using tech in the toilet may lead to constipation and hemorrhoids.
Wait, okay. Right? You're going to have to repeat that one, because I'm thinking I heard that correctly. Of course, I've had no coffee today, just a little bit of green tea. So did you say use of your smartphone in the bathroom is causing health issues?
Yes. And I'll on my show, I'll post the link to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please do. Yes.
That's how dangerous this is getting. And so what do we do about it, right? Well, we need to go through a digital detox. And first of all, we need to admit that we are doing this to ourselves and to our families. We're allowing our kids maybe too much time. And so digital detox means looking at the time spent and saying, how can I cut back? How can we as a family cut back? There are also studies done by one of our now favorite organizations, the National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Right.
That, unfortunately, I know way too much about.
Right.
And that device use is causing an increase in depression and anxiety. There's a new social anxiety disorder, which is FOMO, fear of missing out, that's caused by...
Oh, yeah, that was a big millennial term. Yes, yes.
So So if we will admit to ourselves that maybe we do spend too much time on our smartphones and our laptops, then how can we make it a point and be strategic in detoxing from it? Well, one of the things that we have to do is say, okay, where can we cut back? Can I, if I know that I'm going to be on my computer at work, then maybe I need to say to myself, I will stay off my smartphone, except maybe 30 minutes every 2 or 3 hours to check my text and something. But it has to be a family thing, because I know we've all gotten very reliant on texting as our means of communication, right?
Oh my goodness! I just think back to how. I think back to my childhood. It would have been so much easier to be able to, instead of, panicking and driving 90 miles an hour to get home by curfew, I could have texted, my mom or dad and said, and driven at a much safer speed and said, I'm going to be 5 minutes past curfew because I had to stop and get gas, or because I had to drop a friend off and their parents were not, any number of things. I know my kids and I have relied heavily on texting over the years, and it's a way for them to check in. I have a safe word for the kids. And I remember my daughter, when she would babysit, I would be like, so, what's the word? Meaning, tell me the safe word. So I knew she was safe over at the place she was babysitting with the kids, and she would text me the word, and that was a huge peace of mind.
Right. And so a family, especially with the kids who already have phones, need to come up with a family plan. And again, this leads to my constant message about family communication, right? We can't communicate enough with our kids. And so coming up with a family plan about admitting, using these numbers, adults 8 hours, kids 4 to 6 hours, really. And maybe having the kids talk about how much time they're spending at school on their devices. Maybe that's a conversation we need to have with the school. If our kids are coming home and saying, most of my classes are spent online now, even though I have a teacher in front of me, that's a conversation we might want to have with our schools. So, but family plan about digital detox. What's our plan? How can we spend more time outside when we walk together? Because how many of us have seen or been guilty of, we self-righteously went on a walk, and what did we do? We stared at our phone the whole time we were walking, right?
Yes. Yes. So much for looking at nature,
And so I would encourage families, encourage everyone to first admit that we have a problem, right? That's half of the thing to do. And then what are we going to do to start detoxing from this digital addiction that we have? And very few of us don't have this addiction, myself included, by the way. It's always good for me to go on walks, and what I do is I'll listen to a book. I don't feel like that's the same because I'm not looking at my device. I'm listening to a book. It's the only time I get to read is when I'm walking and or driving, and I'm listening to the next book on whatever interests me. That's really important. As more studies come out about our mental health and about the need to have better sleep patterns,
yes,
our device seems to be part of the problem. So.
And it's interesting that you had mentioned, I think you were the one who may have mentioned about the blue light. I want to say even a couple of years ago, you were on top of that. And so I ended up, I know I have certain hours of, at a certain point in the night, and you can see, there's a definite change in the color on my tablet and my phone, because you do hear a lot about that, and especially, I wear glasses and stuff, and the older you get, the worse your eyes get. And so I that's something that I've paid attention to. I know that's been something that's out there. Now, I didn't realize it was like causing retinal damage. Some of the physical things that this digital world causes, and again, you trade things off. It's very convenient. It's very nice to be able to, see, check in with your family members, stay in touch with older family members, or maybe family members who can't travel, and you can FaceTime with them and things of this nature. And so nobody feels like they're missing out on anything. The FOMO that you've spoken about, but at some point, okay, if we're, and I think I'm with you. If I'm walking, or people who use, my knees will no longer let me jog, but I see people out jogging and they've got their earbuds in. That, to me, that's different from, that's just like back in the day when you had a Walkman. But it's you're sitting down on the couch, and what I've found is I have to take my phone, turn my and I've started trying to do this several times a day, and especially later at night, turn my volume down, and then put my phone aside, like physically, where I would have to get up to go get to it. Like if we're in watching TV in the family room, put it on the kitchen table or something like that. And I'm telling you, I'm busting myself here. That is hard to do. I'll find myself going in to grab, something to drink, and then being like, well, just look at my phone real quick. And next thing you know, it's with me, sitting right there while we're in the family room together. So, guys, yes, do we need a digital detox? But are we to the point where we are so dependent in society we love that instant news? Boy, I love to see, hey, does somebody have a new puppy on Facebook? It's just so hard. Are we to a point where we can't turn it back? And then you've got the kids who play the games. Heck, I even play a couple of games on my devices. Are we to a point where it's just become such a part of us that a digital detox, unless you're in the hospital for surgery and the doctor says you can't have your phone in the recovery room, are we past the point of even being able to do it realistically?
So I challenge parents to, especially with themselves and with kids, to put the devices down at least before bed.
Speaking of digital, I think we're having a little bit of a trouble with your connection there.
My device. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh, much better, much better.
Yeah. So encourage parents and kids to use a book an hour before bed. Don't use your device to read a book an hour before bed.
A real book
Use
with pages, that you turn. Yes. Remember those?
Magazines, yes. So again, I'm bringing it to everyone's attention. I'm putting out the challenge. Do you need to be digitally detoxed and so forth? So we'll talk more about that on Sunday, but we're also going to talk about an interesting article I found. There's such a thing as cognitive scientists. And there's a magazine journal called Cognitive Journal, and there's a study out about how adults learn differently than children. And I found that fascinating because, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can, but you just have to do it in a different way.
Yes.
And so we'll explore that. We will explore that a little bit more deeply. And then we're going to touch a little bit on gratitude. If you'll remember, we've done this before around Thanksgiving. The need to show gratitude and to feel gratitude really helps our mental health. So we'll touch on those three things on Sunday.
I couldn't agree more. With the gratitude thing, it's interesting. I've seen, and again, digital, going back to Facebook, and some of the social media sites. I have a few friends who are doing like 30 days of gratitude, or 10 days of gratitude. It's some one of those challenges out there to say what you're thankful for. And Dr. Good, I know you're very, very much into the mental health side of things. We have gotten to where we're so quick to just dump and just say negative things on social media. And it used to be, and this is interesting, JP and I used to talk about this, and I know you've been in on this conversation with us before, even back in our radio days. And we used to bust chops of the kids and said, parents, you've got to get your kids under control. You've got kids who are bullying online 24/7. You've got kids who never, back in the day, you got a break if you bullied, you were only getting bullied, not that was good, but until 3:30, and then on the weekend and at night, at least you had a little, respite reprieve from the bullying. But then now it's all the time, and we were talking about teenagers and preteens having these issues, and now I see adults are just as bad nowadays, if not worse. And I've really noticed it since the pandemic. And I think that probably has something to do with the fact that there's so much negativity out there. You know, maybe you could start this on your show. Maybe we could do it on this show too as well. You know, challenge yourself that if you're kind of like the old, you know, adage my mom always said, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And boy, the older I get, the more I try to live by that. And that, you'll put something out there. Hey, thank you for your friendship, or thank you for posting such a lovely picture of your grandchild, or, you know, that gratitude. It's for the, it makes the other person, like when you're on the receiving end of it, it feels amazing. But I think for the giver as well. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because you're on social media as well, you know, with all your businesses and things. What are your thoughts about the negativity that you see out there?
Well, it's got to a ridiculous point, and I'll give you a real life example. We had a staff member at Legacy that was hit by a parent with a car yesterday. And we had another parent who was very angry at the principal because he did not allow her to bring in hot Cheetos and energy drinks into lunch for her child and for several other kids. We just don't allow that.
Right.
And so she went online last night and posted a very negative review about, well, this school is terrible, that a staff member got hit by a parent, and they have terrible meals. They won't let me bring lunch into my child. And so
define terrible meals. To me, an energy drink has no place with anybody under the age of 18. Yeah, you've talked about the horrors of those.
And so here we have a parent who was denied something,
right,
and turned the fact that a parent hit a staff member, she's fine, but
right,
into a negative on the school. I mean, that's how listed the views are getting now. The parent actually posts that it was almost like the school's fault that a parent hit a staff member. The staff member was just walking across the street to work, and the parent was on the phone and let the car move before the eyes came up from the phone. And yet it's turned into now a negative review where the superintendent there is having parents write positive things to sort of try to bury that ridiculous thing. But still, that's how silly this has gotten.
Yeah,
wow.
and again, I think it's one of those things. I always, you know, when I'm trying to coach people and I'm trying to say, hey, okay, you know, if this were a situation, would you go up to that person and say what you are about to write? Would you say that to their face? And a lot of times the answer is no, but it's so easy because, hey, well, like you said, somebody's in their own bathroom typing out some response on social media. And so I think it's one of the, what's that saying? And I always mess all these old sayings up. Something like a pound of measure. Well, I know there's measure twice, cut once, but what's the other, like a pound of some,
right.
I can't remember. Anyway, it'll come to me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
But if you can't say anything nice, right?
Yeah.
If you can't say anything nice, don't write it. Don't
yes,
write it. Don't
yes.
post it. And keep scrolling. That's my big thing is keep scrolling.
Yes.
Don't judge. Don't write. Don't give your opinion. Just if you don't like what you read, scroll by.
And and it's interesting with the algorithms, and then I'll let you go because I know you're on the road. But the algorithms on Facebook, I got to where I was only responding to things about like people's babies, puppies, kittens, and Jesus. And so it's funny. So for the longest time, really, those are the only kinds of things that came up in my news feed. And I was like, now this is a lovely day. All I have to do is like pictures of Jesus, puppies, kittens, and babies, and it's all good.
There you go.
Well, thanks, Dr. Be Good. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Sunday at 8.
All right. Sunday, 8 to 8:30. Thanks, Dr. Good. We appreciate you. Travel safely. You've got Dr. Be Good. Ask Dr. Be Good at 8:30, or no, I'm sorry, 8 to 8:30 on every Sunday morning live. And then you can catch her rebroadcast. Of course, you can go to her social media pages and catch past shows. Lots of good information on education, on just kids in general, how to take care of folks. So just good stuff. So tune in. I'm finding this fascinating, and I've got to go to the part of her. And if you will let me know Brett, when we've got Congressman Taylor, he should be coming in studio any second here. So we've got Congressman Taylor coming in studio, and I'm very anxious to hear from him. He's got several things, again, just from Washington, D.C., that are being proposed that he's fighting against. That are just unbelievable. But anyways, and in the meantime, wanted to give y'all an update. JP's dad is still in the hospital. So far, things are going well. Surgery went well. They're finding some better ways, I believe, to deal with his heart issues, and so we're really happy that prayers are being answered. So again, we just ask if you will please continue to pray for JP's dad, Stan, like Stan the man, as we call him. Just want to make sure that his neurological workup and the continued heart tests that they're running go well, that his infection continues to trend in the right direction of healing. So we do really appreciate prayers for that. And then tomorrow, super excited about tomorrow. We've got Chuck Wright will be in studio with me, of course, Andrew White, who is also with Kilroy's Conversation, and then JP remotely will be chiming in with us from time to time. We've got a number of folks who are going to be coming in studio, or that Chuck and I will be interviewing. Greg Gadsden, just some great folks. I believe we've got Rob Altman and John Keating here from the city of Frisco. Oh gosh, I almost said city of Plano. I'm getting in trouble for that. Just a number of folks who will be stopping by, or we will be interviewing. And just really, this is an opportunity for you to show respect and your admiration and just your appreciation for veterans. If you are a veteran and you're a member of the crew and you would like to zoom in and say hi to everybody, ping me on, I think, go through Facebook Messenger. A lot of you have my cell phone number, or just text me and I'll shoot you the link for our show tomorrow. And I think, Brett, is that the link that you sent me last night? Is that the correct link? So I want to make sure I'm sharing out the right thing for people. He's like, okay, everybody gets very nervous when I start using technology, as well they should. So anyways, we very much look forward to having a really good day for Veterans Day, and very excited about that. I have got an event that I would like to talk about. Let's see, I'm going to pull this up, of course, on social media. So we have got, here it is. Okay. And I'm really excited about this because this is one of my best friends who, this is her father who is being honored. So today at 11:45, from 11:45 until 1 p.m., join out at Plano Flags of Honor, and that's out at Oak Point Park in East Plano, right over off Spring Creek. There are 1,000, regulation size American flags out there, so you cannot miss it. Plano Flags of Honor there will be a POW medal presentation. As a matter of fact, Congressman Van Taylor will be the one doing that. This will be honoring First Lieutenant William Jennings Bryan Duncan. This is going to be a very special presentation. This individual, this POW who we are going to be honoring today, who Congressman Taylor is going to be honoring, and those of us are going to be paying our respects to, was part of the Bataan Death March. So this is extremely important to this family, and we're just really wanting to make sure that there's a good turnout. I know there's supposed to be possibility of storms, but there is a tent out there. We're hoping the storms will hold off till a little bit later today. So just get on out to Plano Flags of Honor. That is at 2801 East Spring Creek Parkway, Plano, Texas, 75074. And of course, and I'm going to encourage you to go on to Plano Flags of Honor and to Plano Flags of Honor and their Facebook page, or you can go to their website, planoflagsofhonor.com, and check that out. And, definitely go out. And it's open 24/7 throughout this whole week. unbelievable events going on all the time. But if you've got any chance at all to break away during lunchtime today from 11:45 until 1, like I said, a POW medal representation in honor of First Lieutenant William Jennings Bryan Duncan by Congressman Van Taylor. So we're really, really excited about that. Can you send a message up front? I'm wondering if the congressman's stuck at the security door, so we want to make sure we see if he's out there. Let's see. I'm umming a lot today because I haven't had enough caffeine. Let's see. I wanted to see if we've got anybody commenting on our feed today. Good morning to Susan Schuler. Oh yeah, Susan. We're wondering if we can get Miss Texas in studio one more time before she leaves for Miss America. This is the 100th year anniversary for the Miss America competition, and we're super, super excited that we have got Mallory Fuller, who we just think the world of, and we're cheering her on as Miss Texas and hoping that she will become Miss America. I think she's got a great chance. Of course, I'm extremely biased, so there you go. But so Susan, if we can get her in studio one more time before she leaves, even if she Zooms, because I'd promised the crew that before she went to Miss America, they could hear her play the fiddle one more time. So let us know about that. And yes, that's at 11:45 today. I would suggest getting out there just a little bit early in case of weather. And Karish, yes, Plano Flags of Honor is amazing. And speaking of amazing, we've got a great public servant, a great servant leader here in studio. Congressman Van Taylor, how are you today?
Kathy, good morning, and good morning.
There you go. I love it. Well, it's good to see you. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And I'll get to see you a little bit later on today. I know you've got a very busy couple of days here in district. And aren't you happy to be in the district and be out of D.C.?
So glad.
I mean, we've got so much we can talk about. We can talk about, reconciliation. We can talk about, and as a matter of fact, I sent you, Brett, if you can pull this up before we even get started. I knew you were coming in studio today, and thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
I saw this post on Facebook. Okay, so let's read this. Can we put this on the screen for the crew to see?
Okay.
And I thought this was so powerful, and it made me think about your conversation with us. And we want to hear more on this because this is still making news. But this says, hey, Joe, we were separated from our families. And of course, this is a group of soldiers, coming back from the battlefield. Can we each get $450,000?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty powerful with, hey, if you're an illegal immigrant and you come over and you jaywalk and you're separated from your family, they can get almost $500,000. So what about our American soldiers who have spent time away? And again, you can't make this up, Congressman. You can't make this kind of stuff up.
You can't make it up. No.
So is this still being talked about?
Well, it's
not this. We would be supportive of soldiers' families getting money. We're not supportive of somebody who doesn't even live here getting money.
It's shocking and insulting, I think, to at least to me as a Marine. When I was overseas in Iraq, and one of my fellow Marines or service members was killed, the family would get a $100,000 death benefit.
Yeah.
And you think about this, and you're saying, hey, we'll give $450,000 to people who are alive, well, and came here illegally.
Yeah.
It's absolutely shocking. And when this report first came out, it was actually reported by the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
And the president was asked about it when he was in Europe, and his response was, that's garbage. And so you kind of said, okay, well, maybe the journal got it wrong. Maybe the reporting is incorrect. But then the administration came out the next day. You had the White House press secretary say, no, this could happen. We're thinking about this. And then the president actually was asked about it a few days later, and then he in turn went after the reporter and said, I never said it was garbage. There's the president doesn't have much credibility, Kathy, and it's really shocking to see how badly he shredded his own credibility, right? I mean, yet again, and
right.
But just this particular policy, I think the reason so many of us are outraged. First off, it's so out of bounds.
Yes.
That people that are breaking our laws, somebody breaks into your house and all of a sudden you owe them a death gratuity. Or you owe them a gratuity. It's just it's kind of incredible.
Right.
It boggles the
Don't
mind.
break into my house.
Yeah. Don't break my laws. Don't come into my house.
Exactly.
You're going to jail. You're not going to be. I don't owe you anything. You owe me something.
Exactly. I'm going to protect my family and my property, and it is what it is. Yeah. And myself. Yeah.
So that is certainly something that is worthy of pointing out. But the other thing is that what this is going to do is the cartels have been good at taking President Biden's language. Look, when he was running for president last year, he said, "Look, I'm going to give free health care to every illegal alien. I'm going to give benefits to illegal aliens. I mean, I want you've got some on the far left that are saying that illegal aliens should be able to vote. Give them the right to vote.
You know what? And I had heard you say something about that. And I thought it was just rumor, just social media fodder. But where is this in? Legitimately, you're not just saying like, just give them the right to vote. This is somebody was trying to really do this.
New York City, San Francisco, absolutely. The very far left cities in our country are trying to say illegal aliens can vote in the municipal elections. They can't vote in the federal elections because federal laws stop them from doing that.
But
they're trying to change that at the municipal level, at the state level. Yeah, absolutely. And so, but understand this $450,000 separation payment, or
whatever.
This benefit, which is a staggering amount of money, for any family. It's believe you me, the cartels are going to say, "Hey, look, if you go, we're going to be able to help you get this $450. Get your $1 million now."
Well, didn't
come
you say?
North,
come on! Didn't you say that the cartel? And I hope, and this is one of those things. I hope I misunderstood what you were saying. Is the cartel advertising on TV?
Absolutely, yeah, no, so the cartels, and they've been doing this for almost as long as Biden has been president, right? So they go on TV and say, "We're really good at smuggling. We'll get you safely to North America. We've got the nicest rides. We'll help you get there." But what's incredible is the Biden administration has turned the Border Patrol into an extension of the cartels against their will. This is not what they want to do. But basically, the cartels are owed money. The money is payable at the moment that the trafficked person is delivered to Border Patrol, because the expectation is that Border Patrol will then get them to the last mile. I mean, they'll hey, if I get them to the McAllen,
if I can get
the
far,
Donna Processing Center, then they're going to be good. Then they'll get a bus ticket. Then they'll get a plane ticket, and they'll be able to go anywhere in America they want to go. And the cartels are able to extract their payment. And look, nobody crosses the border in the southern sector of the United States unless they're paying off the cartels. The cartels will kill people that go without paying. They'll beat people up that go without paying. They're very violent. They're human traffickers. Right. They're criminals. Right. And they have a criminal enterprise. It's a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise. And they're trafficking human beings. And Joe Biden is allowing this criminal enterprise to thrive. And
I don't understand that in America.
Sure, and
how is this happening? You can't make this up.
This is a crisis of his own making. I mean, the President Biden has done this. He's made it. Hey, look, day one, I'm not going to build a wall. Day one, I'm not going to deport people. Day one, I'm gonna stop with the Remain in Mexico policy, and those decisions made by President Biden. Of his own volition. No one made him do this. He said, "Hey, I'm going to do all these things."
Right.
And it has made the most unsecure border we've had in our country's history. And this $450,000, it's an insult to taxpayers. It's the wrong thing to do. It sends the wrong message. It tells people coming to this country illegally will pay you money.
This will be
because literally
times.
That's what it is. I mean, literally that's what it is. If you come into this country illegally, we will pay you money.
Cash. You're gonna get, and not just a little bit, a ton. And then
not just walk around money.
Not just some pocket change so you can go to the grocery store. No, or you can maybe afford gas.
You're gonna hit the jackpot. You're gonna hit the jackpot.
Your family can potentially be set for life. So okay, then help me with what kind of a message does this send to somebody who has come here legally? You and I both have friends. We know tons of folks. You've been to the ceremonies where you see people who have worked hard to become a citizen of the United States of America, and they're so proud of it. And it's such a joyous time for their family and their friends and for all of us here in America. What message does this send to the person who's doing this legally?
Well, it sends a message that you don't have to do it legally. And in fact, if you come here legally, you're not going to get your $450,000. Yeah. And so this is what President Biden has done here. I mean, he's made our country less secure. And the drugs that are coming across our border, I think that's, we have a serious opioid addiction problem in our country.
Huge.
Do
you have some numbers on that
Sure.
drug number? So I've heard staggering numbers on that.
So 10 years ago, and this has been true for about a decade, we were losing between 10 and 15,000 people a year to drug overdoses, which is, and look, and each one of those deaths is tragic. It's a family that's grieving with that. I mean, they're real human costs. And like I've met with a father and mother here in Frisco, Texas, whose son, died from actually was a synthetic cannabinoid that killed their son. First 17 years old, and the last text to his father is "I love you," and never comes home.
That was it.
And
it can be, you think, oh well, these kids dying of drugs, it's because they do drugs all the time. Some of these kids, I remember this was back in the 90s, an opioid death from a young man, great kid, great family, was at a party after a football game, tried the drug once, and it killed him because it just, and you never know what's in it nowadays, especially with what's coming illegally across the border.
Yeah. But this problem has accelerated from, last year, all-time record high, we lost 92,000 Americans.
Oh my goodness!
Right, and that is more Americans that died in all the wars since I've been alive. It's more Americans that died in Vietnam. In 12 years of combat, we lost 56,000 Americans over a 12-year conflict in Vietnam. We're talking about 92,000 Americans lost in 1 year. And the problem with the drugs coming over the border as a result of President Biden's reckless, and clearly at this point, he's got to, there's no question that it's failed. There's no question that, we're past the point of...
None of them are coming down to the border. And Harris kind of got close to the border-ish area.
Border-ish.
And she's supposed to be...
That was good.
You can hashtag
Border-ish.
that. Yeah. And so, and she's basically like, oh, there's no problem. It's all good. She's laughing all this kind of stuff off as she's being interviewed. And I'm just like, they have to know...
Sure.
But they're making sure, and what the borders are?
So we have had 170,000 people be apprehended on the southern border every month, more than 170,000 every month, 7 months in a row, the most that has ever happened in the history of our country. So we have the least secure border, and you've got President Harris, President Biden, Vice President Harris, President Biden. You've got Secretary Mayorkas, the health, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Say, oh no, it's secure. We're making progress. The border is closed. And it's just obviously patently false. They know it's patently false. I think they're hoping the American people are stupid. They're hoping the American people, can't wake up, can't see the fact. And the facts are the facts, right? You can't change the number of people that are apprehended by Border Patrol on the southern border. And the other thing is, that we had the most secure border in the history of our country last year.
We did under President Trump. God bless him,
Yeah, no, look, President Trump got this right.
He did.
President Trump, he was building the wall. He was deporting people.
Yes.
He got the Remain in Mexico policy negotiated, implemented, and it worked. It was very effective. And President Biden inherited the most secure border we have had probably in the history of our country.
Right.
And look at what Joe Biden has squandered it. And he's intentional about destroying our border security. But going back to this drug problem, right here in DFW, in Tarrant County, the sheriff there is saying that this is in the Wall Street Journal that drugs have gone from $50 a hit for a hit of fentanyl in January to $15 in a 6-month period. And
so a kid can use their lunch money, Congressman. Literally, you can take your lunch money or the gas money your parents give you, and you can afford drugs easily right now.
It is, and there is. I can't imagine that is going to get. I am afraid for what the next set of numbers are in this opioid crisis, and a lot of them are made in China. China is sending them through our southern border. So China is exploiting President Biden's stupidity on securing our southern border. And you got to give President Trump credit for credit's due. He secured the border.
Absolutely.
The border was the most secure it's been in a generation. We're all grateful for that level of security. It was really important. And President Biden has just absolutely wrecked that.
You know, and I don't know if I've told you this story. I had a girlfriend of mine who did private investigative work, and she was helping out with sex trafficking rings.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because immediately, I mean, it was overnight that Biden took what Trump had did and undid it just with the swipe of a pen, and she ended up losing her job. They all said, "Oh, it's now too dangerous for people who had been trained to apprehend sex offenders." So she's since has found another job. But that's pretty scary when people who are professionally trained to go down there and help us, even as a private investigator, and help, nab some of these folks before they come and get our kids, and it's too dangerous, and then all of a sudden they're out of work.
Incredible.
There's something wrong with that. There's just something wrong with that. And then because I want to transition to talk about vaccines. And so we've got these folks coming across the border that we have no idea what they're bringing over, who they're coming with, who they're going to see, where they end up. But then help me out with all of the folks who are just good, hardworking American citizens who are losing their jobs because, and I've got a friend who had COVID, has been tested for the antibodies, is through the roof on the antibodies to the point where I'm like, hey, if I get COVID, I'm going to this person for platelets or donation of whatever it is they donate that helps you get healthy again. Were given a religious exemption, very woke company that this person works for. They were given a religious exemption, and they were told, but it's only until May, and then we're going to revisit it. And so I asked my friend, I said, are you going to convert to a different religion between now and May? And he's like, no. But in the meantime, he has also been banned from any social activities. And this is somebody who works from home. So, you kind of count on those team building activities, banned from those. And I understand private sector companies can do what they want. But at this point, we're telling military and we're telling TSA, we're telling all of these, OSHA. I mean, help me out with how crazy this vaccine thing has gotten.
Yeah, it's deeply concerning. I think it begins at the human level. I mean, it's actually on Monday I was talking to the Concerned Veterans for America. They had a panel, and a gentleman came out to me, and he's a police officer, he's a National Guardsman, right? So this is a person serving his country doubly, right? He's in the National Guard. He's a police officer. He's a frontline worker that's keeping our community safe. He's willing to fight for freedom overseas. And he's facing a dishonorable discharge in the National Guard, which would then cause him to lose his job as a police officer, right?
I mean, this is unreal.
Think about the human cost to his family, to his Guard unit, to his police department. You just think about, I talked to a young woman who is just beginning her career. Working for a major investment bank, and she's actually here in Dallas, and she caught COVID about a year ago, recovered just fine. Right. She's got antibodies, and her firm's like, we don't care. You need to be vaccinated. And she's like, well, look, and she actually got a blood test, right, and said, look, I have antibodies. Yeah, like I am actually safer. I'm safer than someone who's vaccinated. Yes. I'm actually the safest person in this team because I'm the only person who has antibodies. Right. I don't think I need this. There's a medical argument, right? You're making a medicine argument. So science isn't even good enough for the left now. What about science? And then I think that. And then there's, and look, unfortunately, there are story after story after story like that. I mean, and it's, I had the worried mother calling me and saying, look, my son is facing time in the brig. I mean, after how many combat tours and how much service in the defense of our nation. And now because they don't want to get a shot. Right. It's, and then I think there's institutional damage. And I think that you're going to see, and the beginnings of it. You look at New York City, and all of a sudden they're shutting down 20% of their fire stations. People, you look at L.A. where they're firing police officers or putting them on furlough. You're looking You think of, and that's happened. That is so
Right.
that is the future. I was talking to a company, major manufacturing company, the brand name everybody knows. And they're saying, look, we estimate between a third and half of our employees are vaccinated. If we have a vaccine mandate, we are not going to have a company anymore. That company ceases to exist. Because they can't make stuff. They're a manufacturing company. This is what they do. They make things.
Well, and we've already got a supply chain issue right now. You've got empty shelves.
Sure.
And we have become friendly with one of the managers at the grocery store that I frequent the most, and his thing is, hey, we can't, we would love to be able to provide that to you, but guess what? We've got folks who are. They can't get trucks here. They're like, we literally wait every day, and if a big truck pulls up, we're like,
this is going to create tremendous supply chain problems. And I'll tell you one other personal story. I was talking to an individual who said, look, I work for a big company. I do training. I do it all by Zoom. I do everything from home. I do not act with any of my coworkers.
Right.
I'm being told I will be fired if I do not get vaccinated, right? So it's
this
not about
science. This is a person
science.
who's never going to be around anybody in that company and expose them.
I mean, but it goes to how crazed and in the institutional cost. You talk about I met with the Secretary of the VA a few weeks ago, and he said, look, we're going to fire every employee that's not vaccinated. And you're like, holy cow! 15 million Americans get their health care from the VA. It's the largest healthcare system in our country.
That would be a national tragedy if all of a sudden everybody that doesn't have shots let go on the same day.
2 to 10% of their employees, and they will lose entire sections, right? I mean, hey, we lost every radiology tech or at this
or every
VA.
HR person, so nobody can process paperwork.
Or 80% of them,
right?
I mean, and all of a sudden, pieces of the machine grind to a halt because, and again, this is an institutional company. There was a report yesterday saying, look, TSA thinks that they could lose 20,000 agents.
And I'm sorry, is it already? I've got you see on social media people saying, "Oh, delayed again, can't fly here, can't fly there."
You're talking about creating literally an economic catastrophe. And what I think what's incredibly horrible is the Biden administration. They said over and over again, even when President Biden was running for president. Jen Psaki said this. You watched Dr. Fauci, CDC officials. They said, look, we do not have the legal or statutory authority to implement a vaccine mandate. We cannot do this. We do not have this power. And then you had the worst foreign policy disaster in the history of our country, the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Horrible.
Right? Which was a total disaster.
Horrible. Don't you have people who are going through your office still trying to get out?
I have my office is tracking 450 people who have ties to the 3rd district, who have ties, who have family here in this district, who are trying to get out of Afghanistan. And in the 90 days since we withdrew, we have been able to get one of those people out. One. And the State Department has been abysmal about trying to get them out. But and
then Biden's on TV, national TV, saying everybody who wanted to get out got out.
Yeah, and
that's a lie. You've got 399 people still that y'all are trying to help get out.
We're trying to get people out right now.
And that's just in your congressional district. Can you imagine all over the country?
Absolutely. No, and there are hundreds of American citizens that are trapped behind enemy lines, that are stuck in Afghanistan. And this administration, has been, dishonest about it, and furthermore has tried to cover it up and hide it. In another way, they try to cover it up was 9 days after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, President Biden, said, "Hey, we're going to do a vaccine mandate," and I think it was an effort to distract from a disaster. But he has created another disaster, and I think that's he's shredding the Constitution. He doesn't have the statutory or legal authority to do this, and this is just he's trying to placate the far left. It's a social control experiment. We just want to make people do something. We want to be in control of your lives, cradle to grave. And it's about authoritarianism. It's about telling people what to do, no matter what the cost, no matter if it hurts that police, that policeman who's in a National Guard unit, whether it hurts,
God, that's horrible.
whether it hurts the father who's got 3 kids who works from home doing training for his kids, whether it hurts, that young person starting their career off that they're facing getting fired for not getting vaccinated, and whether it destroys the TSA, whether it destroys whether parts of the VA are harmed, and I mean, and just. You're talking about intelligence analysts. The intelligence community is like, wow, what are we going to? We're going to be letting go thousands of people. And I give you another personal story. Here in North Texas, talking to someone who works for a defense contractor, and they're like, look,
Right.
I've been at this company, helping to manufacture advanced weapons for 34 years, right? An important person for this country to be safe. He's like, I'm facing a vaccine mandate. I was going to work here for 3 or 4 more years, but now I'm just going to retire.
And that's a valuable member
Sure.
of that team that we still need.
Absolutely.
No. Again, it makes no sense. There's nothing logical about it.
Absolutely. No, you've got a real problem in this country. Time now, you need people to work.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
time now, you've got a problem. Your labor force participation is low. You've got not too many jobs, not enough workers, and the Biden administration figured out yet again how to violate the Constitution, break the law, implement something that is unconstitutional. I mean, it's been stayed in the Fifth Circuit, right? So that's
Yeah.
okay, there's some good
Right,
news.
yeah.
It's been delayed in the Fifth Circuit, and but the Biden administration is literally saying we think you should do it anyway. We don't care that it was.
I
We
was
don't.
gonna say they didn't care. They didn't
Yeah.
care about what happened in Louisiana, now the Fifth Circuit.
Yeah.
They're like, that's okay. We're going to
Sure.
move forward with this, and it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, obviously, you're sitting here. You're a voice of reason.
Sure.
You're a good, strong conservative, we the people voice in Congress. But you and your conservative colleagues, y'all
Well,
are trying to fight something.
We are fighting this.
What can you do?
We are fighting tooth and nail. We have signed on to, I've signed on to numerous pieces of legislation.
Right.
I actually last week signed on to Congressman Massey's bill stopping the vaccine mandate in the military. I actually tried to get that forced onto the floor for a vote on the House. Working with Congressman Fred Keller from
Right.
Pennsylvania. He has a piece of legislation that we're currently drafting right now to try to strike down the OSHA mandate
Right.
through what's something called the Congressional Review Act, which allows Congress to strike down regulations that we don't like.
Okay.
And that actually requires just a majority vote in each chamber. So if
That's good to know.
if we take the House and the Senate, we will actually be able to strike down OSHA mandates.
So explain. Let's talk about the importance of these midterm elections and how crucial they are. If we don't get the majority of the House in 2022, if we don't get you back and our other conservative folks plus win seats in
Right.
both the House and the Senate, it's just I can't even imagine how bad it could get, Congressman.
Well, so our best chance, let me say this: applying pressure to this administration, they're not bound by principle, right?
No.
I mean, they're and so you watch them, a few weeks ago, they said, I think we were on the show, and it was reported that the administration was going to reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy, which they've been ordered by a court
Right,
to do. They've been
right.
ordered in court. You will do this. You will follow the law. Remain in Mexico will go back in. They hemmed and hawed for 6 weeks. They finally said, okay, we're going to do that. And then last week they started saying, well, we're probably not going to do that. And what happened was the left activated, went crazy on the administration, and the administration caved once again to the radical left that said, we don't want the Remain in Mexico policy. We don't want a secure border.
Right.
We want an open border. We want people to come here illegally. And Biden administration, you're going to help us do that. And so once again, they changed courses, yet again. And so
it's hard to keep up with.
But I think hopefully the pressure. I mean, look, I and other members of Congress. This is why I've signed on to so many bills, so many letters, talking about it with you here today.
Right.
And this is gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse because it's not. Again, the New York Fire Department, the L.A. police officers. That was the
coming.
beginning,
Yes.
right? I mean
That's
that was a
first
few
wave.
weeks ago,
Right.
and they were early. And you kind of see, oh wow, you're breaking stuff.
Right.
Right? I mean, if you got a fire, if you have enough fires in New York City, you're not going to be saved. You're going to
your home is going to burn.
Your apartment building is
Yeah.
going to burn in New York City. It's just they do not have, and they have made the policy choices to make sure, in addition to those firemen not having jobs, in addition to those police officers not having jobs, in addition to hurting those, I mean, there's an individual damage, there's institutional damage, and there's societal damage.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see, again, it begins with the individual, and then there's institutional, and then there's societal damage. But it's damage at all three levels, and the Biden administration is figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
And we need to continue to be loud and point this out and really highlight the damage that the Biden administration is doing through these vaccine mandates, which are, again, they're unconstitutional, they're illegal, they know that, they know it, and they said it. I mean, like, it's not like we're not putting words in their mouth, or this is not our opinion, this is their opinion.
Yeah.
This is what they've said, as recently as July. I mean, the president, Jen Psaki, Dr. Fauci, we can't do that. We don't have the authority. It's not legal. We don't have the Constitution. It never happened in the history of our country. And it's not like some law change that then gave them the power.
No. And again, and I know you've got to get going because you've got a number of other stops today, including, we had spoken earlier,
Sure.
Flags of Honor. You're going to be honoring a veteran who is a POW, and very, very excited to be part of that with you this afternoon. Thank you for coming in studio. We look forward to seeing you. You're going to be our closing guest tomorrow for our second annual Veterans Day Telethon. So
Yay.
really excited about that. Chuck Wright says hello to you.
Good.
But if people want to reach out to you and just reiterate that, yes, this is insanity going on. Yes, the president is going the wrong way. How do they do that, Congressman? Sure.
Whatever's easiest for you. If you want to call into my office, if you want to email into my office, if you want to write a handwritten letter, if you want to type something out and mail it in, if you want to send it in by fax, whatever works for you, we're willing to take your communication. And it helps us. The more people that express what's important to them, it helps me to know what is on the minds of people, and I'm grateful for that. I continue my 100% meeting policy.
Love it.
And I'm actually going to go meet with some constituents after this. And
I love it. Awesome.
I think we're almost at 1,300 meetings since I've been in Congress. So
that's fantastic.
So work hard to want everybody's input.
Well, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you trying to fight against all of this insanity out here. Each week that we talk to you, just keep thinking and kind of laughing because if not, I'm going to cry. Just keep thinking what you're reporting from D.C. can't get worse. And my goodness, Congressman, if it doesn't just get worse and worse and worse. So we've got lots of work to do to get you more support in Congress, so some of these things that you and your conservative colleagues are doing can shut this stuff down. So we appreciate you and your service. And again, thank you for your service to our country. As a matter of fact, this is Coach Quigley will be upset if I don't say this. He said, happy, is it 246th birthday
Absolutely.
For the United States Marine Corps. So he wanted to make sure that we told you happy birthday.
It is the Marine Corps' birthday. We all run around. My phone blew up this morning with texts from all my buddy Marines saying,
I love it.
Happy birthday, Marine. Happy birthday, Marine. And so, it's the Marine Corps is a small group, small band. And we all like to wish each other happy birthday and build esprit de corps by just saying, hey, today's our birthday, 246 years of serving our country and going in every climb and place where we could take a gun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, and God bless you for your service. We continue to pray for you and your family and the folks in Washington, D.C. who are trying to help you push back the forces of darkness because it gets crazier. And we'll see you tomorrow. And then to the crew, we will see you soon. We'll be on from 9 until 3 tomorrow. If you are a veteran and you are a member of the crew and you want to just give a shout out tomorrow, I've got a Zoom link for you, or you can come on in studio. And then Venture X, who has graciously offered the studio space for free tomorrow, and services of Nathaniel, who will be our producer, for free. So we really appreciate that, Venture X. They're also doing a happy hour and celebrating veterans after our show tomorrow, I think around 4:30 or 5. So stay tuned for more information about that. We'd love to see you. Have a blessed day. See y'all soon.